Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
On your Daily Detroit, more closures tied to the coronavirus response from all the schools in the state to the Detroit Institute of Arts. There's leadership tumult at the Suburban Bus system, SMART. Parts of 8 Mile are to get resurfaced. Ferndale hotspot Imperial is opening a second location, this time in the city of Detroit. And there's a new initiative to preserve affordable housing in the city of Detroit. Sven Gustafson chats about it with Julie Schneider, the Deputy Director of the city's Housing and Revitalization Department. It's Friday, March 13th, 2020. As it is, happy 313 Day. I'm Jer Stays. Let's just dive right in. We start the show with what's probably going to be a regular thing for a while, a quick update on what's happening around here in the state when it comes to the coronavirus or COVID-19. Late Thursday night, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer closed all K-12 schools in the state for 3 weeks, starting this Monday. That'll put the closures into the first week of April, and for many schools, possibly through their regularly scheduled spring break right afterward. Also, the governor has banned all gatherings of 250 people or more through Sunday, April 5th at 5 p.m., canceling countless concerts and other events that weren't already. If you were thinking of hitting up some cultural institutions, they've decided to close too. The Detroit Institute of Arts, the Historical Museum, the Henry Ford, the Cranbrook Complex, and many others have decided to shutter. As of this recording, the Detroit Zoo remains open, in part because of the lower risk of disease transmission in outdoor spaces. Many large employers are strongly encouraging or mandating people to work from home, including Blue Cross Blue Shield, Ford, and General Motors. If there are additional coronavirus coverage or questions you want answered, go ahead and email us at dailydetroit@gmail.com, and we will track it down for you. There's an unexpected leadership change at SMART, the Suburban Bus system. General Manager John Hertel, who has been on the job a decade, was unanimously voted out by the Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation's board on Friday. Hertel had just had his contract extended for a year last week, but he resigned by surprise late Thursday night. So what started this? It's alleged that he was using SMART facilities to park his personal vehicle fleet. Hertel denies this, and in his resignation letter said that it was because of the coronavirus and that he wouldn't be able to tackle big challenges. Hertel has been in public service for nearly half a century in a variety of roles. My 2 cents, with all the challenges mass transit has and regional transit has in this community, SMART just doesn't need this. Starting at the end of March and running through the fall, 8 Mile Road is going to see some serious road work. The Michigan Department of Transportation is spending about $15.5 million to repair about 9 miles of 8 Mile, otherwise known as M102, between I-75 and I-94 in the cities of Hazel Park in Oakland County, Warren and East Point in Macomb County, and Detroit and Harper Woods in Wayne County. Railroad crossing improvements will be made near Mound Road and M97 or Groesbeck Highway. As part of the project, concrete pavement repairs, asphalt milling and resurfacing, repairing curbs and gutters, sidewalk ramps, and some drainage repairs will be made. Ferndale hotspot Imperial, known for communal tables and all of their tacos, is opening a spot in the city of Detroit. They'll be bringing new life to the old State Bar in the Fillmore Theater. That's right on Woodward there across from Comerica Park. The Detroit News says that they're aiming for a spring opening and will offer more seafood and vegan options than in Ferndale. The piece says that they're going to give the spot a similar design to the Ferndale location. I'm old enough to remember what the State Bar used to look like, and I have not been in there for a while. But and I know it doesn't go with a taco joint, but I hope that they keep some of the details, incorporate them somehow. As I said, I haven't been in there for a while, but I do remember some cool stuff. I hope they get reused. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan has announced a new initiative with 6 partnering organizations aimed at preserving affordable housing in the city. Sven Gustafson spoke with Julie Schneider, Deputy Director of the city's Housing and Revitalization Department, to find out more about how this works. Here's that conversation.
The city is launching Preservation Partnership, which is a new initiative aimed at hanging on to 10,000 existing affordable units in the city by 2023, stemming the tide of gentrification and preventing people from getting pushed out of their homes. Julie, tell us how exactly the city is going about doing this.
So the Detroit Preservation Partnership is a collaboration between 6 organizations led by enterprise community partners. What that partnership will do is begin with identifying and prioritizing which affordable housing developments are most at risk of either no longer continuing to operate as affordable housing because of market pressures or because of aging conditions in a property. They'll then work with developers to identify what the appropriate way to preserve their property is by recapitalizing it or reinvesting in the property, extending contracts. They'll explore the full range of options that are best suited to a property. United Community Housing Coalition will work with tenants of those developments to make sure that tenants' voices and needs are considered as a part of the process. Elevate Energy will be doing energy audits of buildings to make sure that we can reduce utility costs in any building that goes through a rehab. Those utility costs will be reduced for the tenants. SENER and CHN will be working with there's a portfolio of about 1,200 single-family existing affordable housing units that were financed through the low-income housing tax credit program about 12 to 16 years ago. They'll be working with the owners of those properties and tenants to identify whether or not we can create home ownership opportunities for the existing tenants. And so overall, it will be a collaborative nature that will also bring in HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, their local office, as well as the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and the Detroit Housing Commission will be working together on developments that we've invested in to make sure that we are acting collaboratively to preserve the existing affordable housing. So it'll be a big program, lots to do, but all of these tools are needed to deal with the risk of losing 10,000 affordable housing units and making sure that we preserve them.
Yeah. You mentioned tax credits. A lot of this has to do with expiring tax credits to help developers maintain their properties as affordable as opposed to market rate, right? Can you explain a little bit about those tax credits?
Sure. Affordable housing has been financed in the last couple decades. The primary source has been what are called low-income housing tax credits, and those are tax credits that are administered by the State Housing Finance Agency, in this case MSHA, and they're awarded through a competitive process. Anybody that receives them has to make the housing affordable for at least 15 years, sometimes longer. So when we talk about tax credits expiring, what we mean is that the required use of making a development provide affordable housing, it's that time period and that contract that is expiring. It doesn't necessarily mean that a housing development will not offer affordable housing. In fact, there's often longer-term protections on them, but it is at a moment in time where developers could exit the affordable housing requirements, and so it's really the time that we need to act. There's these old HUD-financed products that provide affordable housing as well, and those contracts are also expiring. Sometimes developments have more than one type of financing on them, so that's why the collaborative effort between the different partners is so critical in this.
How does the city define affordable in this case?
In this case, when we're talking about preserving Detroit's existing affordable housing, we're talking about regulated affordable housing. So these are housing units that have a restriction on either how much rent they can charge or they have to offer rental assistance contracts for people using that particular housing. Generally, housing is defined as being affordable if you're not paying more than 30% of your income, including on rent, including utilities. And so when we're talking about affordable housing, in this case, we're talking about regulated units in which people are paying an affordable rent for themselves.
Okay. How long does this program, Preservation Partnership, last? How much will it cost, and how is it going to be funded?
This is a 30-month contract with the partnership that is really meant to build a partnership that will be able to build the network in such a way that it lasts longer. It is funded through the Neighborhood Stabilization Program funds that the city had after what's known as the TARP program, and so we are utilizing these dollars to make sure that we are able to maintain Detroit's affordable housing.
One other piece of this, I'm not sure we mentioned, this will also include help for property owners to make renovations and improvements on their properties as well, right?
I believe I didn't mention that. So we're funding it with $1.6 million initially and hope to extend it. But that money doesn't go to the developers. What we're working with the developers to is make sure that if the development needs to be refinanced or improvements need to be made to the property, that we are working with either MSHDA, HUD, coordinating with the Affordable Housing Leverage Fund, whatever the most needed and best suited dollars for the needs of a particular development. That's really what one of the real benefits of having the partnership do, is to help navigate that field of very, very limited affordable housing development dollars.
All right. Julie Schneider is Deputy Director of the City of Detroit's Housing and Revitalization Department. Julie, thanks so much for coming on Daily Detroit.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, a quick heads up. With all of the social distancing going on, we're setting things up so me and Sven can do the show remotely. And there will probably be some more Skype and phone interviews than usual. It's just the way of the world. I hope you stick with us. We promise some great information. We are committed to you and whatever you need, so get in touch with us at dailydetroit@gmail.com, and we'll be on it with your story ideas, things you want us to look at, all that kind of stuff. We are here to serve you. With that in mind, we are powered by our members on Patreon at patreon.com/dailydetroit. A sincere thank you to both Kumar and Greg for becoming members. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much. With that, I'm Chair Stays. Take care of each other, and let's make a better Detroit together.